And welcome to another great episode of Tampa Fishing Outfitters Live Fishing Report. Coming at you from the Tampa Fishing Outfitters.
Yes, sir.
And don't forget about St. Pete Fishing Outfitters.
St. Pete,
and
Tarpon,
we have Tarpon Fishing Outfitters. I mean, there's
Only
all kinds of
fitting this year,
fitters.
man.
And speaking of outfitters, look at our photo over here.
Bro. This is the cheap man's tower right here.
We can't see your face,
the cheap man's sunshade, the old straw hat mafia in the house, man. This is actually a TFO patch hat, man. Get that bad boy out, son. Just some of that. It's about that time of year, man. It's getting hot out there, man.
If you don't have a tower.
If you don't have a tower.
Dude,
you have a tower, though. I mean, it still gets good.
But
there,
I tell you, on my tower, I don't like the entry on it. I do love, we're talking about you're getting a tower on yours. You need to look at my shade because the way it comes off,
right?
It's nice. It gives you extra shade where, like, I had my hard top. It was cool, but, it didn't give you that little wrap, and it's wide back there. Yeah. It's nice. It
makes a big difference, man, especially getting a little warm. Getting a little warm out there. But yeah, man, and I always say it too, and because we're going into bay fishing, our temps are starting to get hot. You start to get there. We start tarpon fishing. We start mac fishing, shark fishing, grouper fishing, just snapper fishing, bay fishing. And a lot of times it's just miserably hot out in the middle of the bay for whatever reason. And if it's not, then it's blowing, and you don't want to be in the middle of the bay. So I thought it was fitting to go straw hat.
No, it's cool. I might try to pull that off eventually. I don't know. Warm a couple times, and then I don't know.
You're more like migrant worker when you go that route.
Well, you gotta go. You gotta go there.
The tough part with straw hats, man, is like we were talking about. You always just end up in a hatch somewhere and get a little
look straight goober.
Moist, and you're like Wyatt Earp or Elmer Fudd.
Yeah,
but they certainly serve a purpose, man.
Well, we got a show pack for you guys. Travis actually had a day off, and he put a little work in the show. Did what he did good. Go play with computers, and we're gonna talk a little trout fishing today.
We're gonna talk a little trout fishing. We got cool stuff to talk about. Actually.
Yeah, we got a photo contest, and who wins the photo contest? It's our photos. Actually, it's Travis's. I can't take
trivia.
There's a bunch of big trout here, and I'm not gonna take credit for any of them. And they're all Travis's. And imagine that he did the photo contest, and it's all Travis's fish.
You can lead a horse to water, but
when I did have my Canyon Bay, I could maybe swing it when you surround it, bow in the background.
It's
now
there,
it's
man.
Game over. But we're going to talk a little trout fishing. We're going to do a little photo contest. We'll talk about what's coming up. We got changes about to happen in the bay. We're going to talk. We're going to talk a little about everything.
There's a lot going on.
We're going to talk about the redfish. There's some stuff popping up.
A lot of conversation that's been stemmed from several different posts across interweb.
The interweb.
About redfish and just our fishery in general. And we're going to probably touch on that just a little. Not go too far into depth because, some people don't want to hear about it. They just want to. Talk about fishing, and that's cool too. We got all different.
Well,
in our room here for the show.
I think our place in this show, Travis, is to talk fishing, but also tell people what we're hearing. A lot of the stuff that I'm hearing is inside, like this social media stuff. It's through Florida Guides Association. There's been some talk about concerns about redfish. Jay Weathers and Greg Vault, who are two well-respected fishermen in the industry, are kind of putting something together to go meet with the scientist of FWC. I can't remember Lewis. I can't say his last name. Danny joined. I don't know if he's watching. I guess he is. Probably going to comment as our show like he always does. But
breathe. You got to breathe.
There's Lewis somebody's on the email who's in the WC that kind of is one of the scientists that goes through all this stuff. So there's some information going on, and I think it's our job to get it out there. I think it's a good thing. That's the one thing about the FT. There's a lot of the Florida Guides Association. There's a lot of stuff that goes behind closed doors that people go, what does the FDA do for me?
Right.
Well, the FDA fights for a lot of stuff. The FDA just sometimes is not good at getting that stuff out. Reason why? Because the FGA is a bunch of volunteer guides that care about the industry.
Right.
And we're put about 8 different ways every day. So me being on the board and me doing this, it makes it an easier avenue because I'm already in here to relay some of this information. So, but there is going to be meetings, I think, coming up. I got to get my head wrapped around this, and this is all hitting at a bad time for us because we're slammed and.
There's never a good time.
Well,
a good time.
September's a little easier.
Certainly been a busy month for all of us, man.
But there's going to be some meetings coming up, I think, and I'm not sure if they're going to be open to the general public. If they are, I would like to urge everyone that has an opinion on Facebook to take that opinion to somewhere that matters.
Right.
It really don't matter besides somebody pumping you up or pumping you down on Facebook. And so I'm not sure if they're going to be public meetings or eventually they're going to be something held to the public.
I think the best idea or the biggest content here and point to be delivered is we do, I think, as a consensus, have an issue with redfish. You know, don't take it to the extreme and say there's no redfish in Tampa Bay. When you catch a redfish, go, oh, it's the last redfish in Tampa Bay type scenario, because that's certainly not the case. But the point is to realize that we do have a situation and try to figure out multiple different ways, because I don't think it's one particular thing that's caused red fishing to suffer. To identify the issues that we think are causing redfish decline, I would say, population
for sure,
or whether they're not showing up here, water quality, harvesting. There's a ton of different reasons why you can say that somebody might have the opinion that red fishing is down. But the point is that we all need to realize that we do have an issue, whether you want to believe it or not.
For sure.
And once you do that, then we can start to lower and go, well, why do we have an issue? What can we do to fix it?
Right.
I mean, it's a simple problem-solving the step to do it. And so based on some Facebook post threads that have been floating around, I think that my opinion is the majority of people are seeing the same thing
across
some level.
Across the state.
Some level. Certainly there's going to be areas that aren't as affected as other areas. There's certain areas that are thriving, but as a whole, I think that most people can agree that we have some sort of issue. And the areas that don't have an issue, maybe we can learn from them and find out, okay, well, what's going on up there that's down here? And
Travis, I'm
start to compare it. And data, where I was going is data is the biggest thing. We talked about it a few weeks ago on the show, but Yaeckel is one of the data collection avenues that places and people like the Florida Wildlife Commission use to analyze our stock, our fish stock. That's just a portion of it. But things like that, having data, having the raw data, is a big part of it. And so going forward, all the people that have a concern, we're going to hopefully figure out ways that everybody can help. Even if you just tell us where you're at, or not us, but report where you're at, what you're seeing from an honest perspective. The guys that are at the boat ramps, the FTC guys that everybody tries to avoid when you back in and he asks you, were you charter? Did you catch fish? Did you not catch fish? Blah, blah, blah. If you're a charter captain, it's very important that they do the biweekly or weekly surveys for the FWC. They call me, just every week, sometimes every other week, but I normally report what I've caught for that week, and I try to be as honest as I can about it for what I remember. And all that information goes into their infrastructure to help them make accurate assessment of where we're at in our stock. And so people that aren't participating in that type of data collection, you're sort of hurting the overall outcome. If you're a statistics person, the amount of data that you have, more data that you have to analyze, the more accurate you can be on what's going on. And so as far as right now, as anglers are concerned, that would be the biggest part. Finding out how you can get involved, what you're seeing, what's going on, stay involved, hang out with us. We're going to do our best to kind of bring it out there, because personally, I have a lot of time left in this industry and fishing in general.
I'm right there with you.
And you do too. And so it's important, and I'm passionate about it, like most of you guys. So let's all put our heads together, set differences aside, and try to figure out a way, support the guys that are up there leading the way to try to figure out what's going on.
Well,
So,
I can tell you this, that in this group of board members to the Florida Guides Association, there's regional directors, there's advisors that are previous active board members that are not active, but they still sit on the as advisors.
Like a consultant or an advisor.
Yeah, so
right.
when we send an email out, it goes to everybody in the state. And, you know, sometimes there is a, yeah, it's good over here, yeah, you're wrong, and it ends up being a bunch of stuff going on. But if you read through it, the one thing that was consistent by some really good captains in the industry was red fishing is just not good.
The numbers are down. The numbers are down.
They're not seeing, you know, they're not seeing schools, or just not seeing schools across the state. So, you know, I don't know. With that being said, you know, you can't overreact on stuff, because a good example, I'm going to go ahead and say this, you know, we've been complaining about trout for years, and this year, trout fishing's been pretty good. I mean, I think it's still not what it was, but it's way better than I expected. And so I don't know. It's like,
I would have to agree, and you know, it goes back to,
is it just a cycle, or is there a real problem?
You know, and that back to science and data, and they have, I like to think, Holdfit, they have the best assessment of what's going on. They have the best, you know, hypothesis of what's going on through what they're educated to do, you know. But realistically, kind of looking, you wonder, you know, we had the big snook line in 09 to 2010. Redfish population, pretty good, you know.
It did.
Soon after decline of the snook through the freezes, fishing was pretty darn good. We're seeing rise, redfish fall a little bit, and in that interim, trout was sort of just hanging in the middle. Trout was okay. One year it was good, next year it was bad. It was okay, bad sort of deal. And for me personally, as of late, our normal wintertime bite, as of late, the spring bite on trout has been fantastic. Particularly in our area. I know other areas of Sford, you know, they haven't been catching.
St. Pete's been getting some big trout too.
You know, the trout. What I've been fortunate enough and thankful to see is I've been getting good numbers on school fish, you know, say that 17 to 18, 19 inch, but also quite a few of these big breeder, you know, 24-inch plus fish showing up in the same areas. So that to me says that at least where I'm fishing, in several different areas, not just one area, but in several different areas, that trout fishery seems pretty good, or that aggregation of fish seems to be pretty good.
Yeah, it's doing good. I still don't think it's as good as it was 2012-ish, but it's a lot better than I expected. I've been catching trout, you know, and I will say that we've fished some different trout spots too this year, so that might have a little bit to do with it. But even though talk with the gentleman that runs the Yaeckel app about a month ago at the Florida Guides Association meeting, and their reports were down. What was it, 12%?
Something like 12, I think.
Yeah. It was a pretty substantial drop. So the common denominator is what we were reporting and what they were reporting were kind of going.
A little off.
Well, they were kind of going together. They were down. We said the trout were way
yeah. In terms of,
and this year it's rounded. So I hope that's the case with redfish. I just know, you know, redfish and trout are a little different. You can see redfish for the most part. Trout, they're harder to see, and they're in deeper water for the most part. There's some shallow, but there's a lot that are in water where you really can't see the number of trout. When you're on the flat reds, if you're on the trolling mode, you can see red. They're pretty easy to see.
And the rebound on trout is not apples to apples as far as reproduction.
Right.
You know, the number of times a year they spawn, you know, gill netting, that whole effective things. I mean, the trout rebounded like wildfire in my eyes, you know, since net bans and things like that have affected that fishery. But
curious to see what the scientific data is on redfish. Because I was told through Bug Grand, they're like, well, we don't see a problem, but everybody is seeing a problem. So is there low number redfish, or the redfish just saying they have the flats, we're going to move off the deeper water?
Well, I mean, you got to look at it and go, what number are they getting and how are they getting the number?
Right.
It's all science, it's all data, it's all collection, and you're only as accurate as the data that you have.
Right.
And that's why the fact that no, I'm not involved with it. No, I don't know every piece of the puzzle that goes into play when they make an assessment. But that data is the most critical part. They are holding faith in that to some degree to make an assumption.
Yeah.
The other thing that I wanted to mention about redfish is, and you and I were talking about going down and trying to get involved a little bit, is hatchery fish. I wonder what the influence of hatchery fish is, and is that an option? Is that a viable option that they've seen can certainly bounce back a population by?
Well, I think they've shut the hatcheries down, right?
Right. I don't think the hatcheries are quite as involved as they were, say, even 3 to 4 years ago. I'm not 100% sure. I know that CA, when they do their star tournament, which we've talked about, those are all hatchery fish. Those come a hatchery, they tag them, and they release them in certain areas across the state. So definitely fish there. What the status of the hatchery is and what their involvement is in our estuary, I don't know. That's something that for me, from a solution standpoint, may be an option down the road.
Jeff,
whatever they've come up with. So
Jeff, that's a good point. I think moves fish, redfish tend to school up. They also tend to be the spookiest of the three, our big three, and they will break a school up if you run over them. That's where, okay, so everybody, there's one thing that's common is everybody thinks there's a problem.
Yeah.
The big question is, what is the problem?
And I don't think it's the problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think like with anything, you got to look at it from several different
Manuel, I have to agree.
Several different avenues. There's one, habitat, oyster beds, seagrass, area to construction that have lost water shorelines where these fish may have sat. There's several different reasons.
Red tide. I mean,
water quality, dumping,
seagrass,
over harvesting.
I think
it all boils down to the one thing that we say is we got an issue. Now you can attack it from several different avenues and still fix the one issue, and the main issue is we have a redfish numbers down. But it's not just one thing where you can go, hey, if Pete stops dumping sewage waste, we'll be back to good, because that's not the case. It's a combination of a lot of different things.
I'm not sure if it's the water quality either, because our water quality in Bay is as good as it's been. I mean, you look at the seagrass beds.
Certain areas, especially up in the Upper Bay, that
they get the flush that we do.
They've suffered. There's areas that don't grass where there used to be grass, and
But the areas that do have grass don't have redfish. I mean, you look and everything looks right. The grass is good, the whole 9 yards. But I think when it's all said and done, I have a feeling it's gonna be a combination of stuff. There's gonna be a bunch of different issues, and
yes, and a little bit of everything will make a big impact on the main goal, which is try to help revive our redfish situation. And honestly, there's more to come with this, guys. This isn't the go for the redfish thing. It's something that's a hot topic right now.
It's
a lot of
huge
comments
topic.
made.
I mean,
there's a lot of guides that this isn't a new thing. This isn't a new topic. Like, it's not like last week somebody said, "Hey, redfish are down."
It's at this point.
It's been declining over the last few years, and I think a lot of people have finally realized that we're at a pivotal point here where we need to recognize we got an issue, and we need to work towards trying to find a solution.
I'm going to tell you this. I talked
or a few solutions.
I had the pleasure of doing the demo days at Fan Boatin', and Mickey, who runs their 23-pounder. We got to talk for the day. Mickey's a real nice guy, fishing redfish tournaments for years. And, Delacroix in Louisiana, a whole thing up there, he's like, he was up there live bait with his dad. They just go up there to fish and cut. It's his first time he's ever had redfish start turning their nose baits.
Just from pressure. Those ponds are starting to get out.
It's populated, and all these tournaments, I mean, they got the Elite, they got the Tito's, the IFA, and whatever other local deals they have. So I've kind of always thought this was going to come, because when I went, I was like, this is insane. And then I look at the population over the last few years, because you told me about Louisiana before I even went a few years before, and it's nothing like I've ever seen.
Right.
And I thought my whole life,
right,
everything you said was true. But them fish are going to adapt
sooner than later. Yeah, I mean,
because if
they certainly have a different environment to work with, a different base model to start with, to look at, which I wish we had. I mean, goodness. But then you go back and you go, well, we'd still just be beating the ever-living shit out of it until it gets to a point where
we're a population deal. You look at we're a big city.
I think, thankfully, most anglers that are in Tampa Bay in our area can to somewhat agree whether they can go out every day to redfish. That's not the point. The point is that how long can you continue to do that? And is it harder to do it now than it was last year and the year before?
Sure.
And if you can't agree with that, then you haven't been on the water enough in the last 2 years. That's what I look at it for me, at least in our area.
I mean, I can't attest for anybody but what I do, and I can show you books. I'm 270 to 275 on the water trips plus tournaments the last 3 years. And red fishing has done. And I've never red fishing and patience fish, and I think that's why you're a red fisherman. For charters, for me, I've gotten more patience to fish than I can turn that on and off. But on a charter, sometimes I just don't want to wait them out. I go get my 20, 30 snook. But it has gotten harder, and areas that you sit on and you do well with, they're just not there. And you see it day after day after day. I mean,
no doubt.
You know, the best day of red fishing I had this year was the IFA. And if I'm going to pick one day to catch a lot of reds, that's the day I want.
Yeah.
So, but, you know, and that was just really, I mean, we had an educated guess on where we wanted to go. It just happened to be we hit that school of can there.
And that's sort of how it, I actually won a redfish tournament in the same scenario where literally a school of fish moved in a day or two before that tournament. And I'm sure a week before, 10s ran around that area and didn't see anything because we too.
Yeah.
And fished that area and didn't see a fish. And my cousin, you know, went out, did a slow mission, just sort of pre-fishing, you know, real slow, and ended up finding some fish. Went back there. They were there next morning. We won the tournament, and fish disappeared after that.
You want to catch them when they're coming, not when they leave.
Yeah, and so, but that's the hard work too. And you know, there was a comment a while back about how somebody used the expression that redfish is doing well because of the weights in redfish tournament. And my argument to that is, fish anglers in general are becoming better.
Oh, for sure.
There's the rock uncovered in any tournament region that's going.
It's all timing. Everybody knows the spots.
Any kind of following and serious guys get involved. If there is redfish in that area, somebody can find them.
You see people pre-fishing
with boats, the power pole, trolling motor, your equipment, your line, your lure, everything else. You've got better as an angler. Your resources, go earth, finding areas that you'd had to fish for a year to find. You know, everything's been shortcut, and so.
You imagine going to Louisiana without
anglers are better anglers.
Google Earth on your boat?
You know, years ago.
You imagine fishing Louisiana without Google Earth on a boat?
I mean, you could do it, and that's the old school method of doing it.
But
that'd
be
hard.
That's
like saying, you know, how long did it take me to learn from Alafia River just to Simmons Park?
I'd say it'd be harder than that.
You know what I'm
saying? You got some landmarks here.
No, but in perspective. I mean, I've fished that for years before I really knew every little creek and hole and on different tides here. And
even then, I go on areas, and it's changed over the years, and I go, wow, I didn't do that pothole, and I've been fishing there my whole life.
Right.
But it's just evolved, and there's fish there.
You didn't hit that one little hole. You know?
What I've done lately, Travis, is I did it today. We didn't catch any big trout, but and I think where it is after the show, you're gonna laugh because it's a place that everybody runs through. And I was like, man, I caught a huge trout there when I was like real young.
I wasn't even good.
We're not even good at fishing. Like just stumbled on it. And I went there today and I threw some chum out, and lo and behold, we caught about 4 of them, and I only fished it for 5 minutes. So sometimes you just go back to your roots,
100%.
And even though it might not have been good
all the time,
you know, there's a whole rotation. But
you know what I found is the places that I fished as a younger, you know, I wouldn't even say kid, but younger, and you fished it for a reason back then. And I think about it and I go, man, why don't I go in there and see if there's snook in there? It was like 6 foot deep. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, well, all it was loaded with snook, and I never even caught a snook. I didn't even know there was snook in there.
Well, how about if you go to areas
knowing what I know now, in fact, and go, hey, man, there was that one order bar that so on and so forth.
That you couldn't catch anything on because you didn't know how.
When to be there, what you're fishing
for. And now, with the knowledge you have, you put that to work and catch fish.
So yeah, that sort of builds your collective knowledge of the area that you're fishing. But anyway, guys, I know we've jabbered a bunch already. We got some questions popping up there, and what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to take a little break. We're going to run a commercial here. When we get back, we're going to talk about some trout, all about trout. We got some cool lures, Poppin' Cork Prieto is going to give you the lowdown on the old Poppin' Cork, and we'll give away some stuff, guys. You are watching Tampa Fishing Outfitters Live Fishing Report. Self, Captain Travis Yaeckel, my man, Captain Jason Prieto. Hang tight, guys. We will be right back in just 1 minute. And welcome back, guys. Caught us off guard here. You're watching Tampa Fishing Outfitters Live Fishing Report. Myself, Captain Tris, Captain Jason in the studios, and we are talking fishing here in Tampa Bay.
That's what we do. We talk fishing during the boat.
Catch some fish, talk some fish.
Let me tell you something about Travis. Travis even talks fish on the way home.
I do.
This isn't an act. This is just Travis. This dude loves fishing. I mean, I like it, but Travis, you love it, man.
I do, man.
I envy your passion, man. And it's probably why you're a good fisherman. You're all in.
It's bittersweet sometimes, man. It really is. But guys, let's talk a little fishing. I know we may have got some sparks fired with redfish. I see Captain Nick Winger, who's a local legend around the area.
Local legend.
And appreciate you chiming in, brother.
Nick, a heck of a fisherman.
Awesome fisherman, been around for a while. But let's talk a little trout. I know you mentioned some trout. I would just say the last month has really been good trout fishing for me.
I keep thinking, man, this ain't going to last.
Part of the reason is I haven't been targeting redfish. I mean, there's been a few different tides when some clients have wanted to go find some redfish and catch redfish.
But boy, isn't it hard.
And we've been successful. But there's a few places that I know some redfish are, and I'm going in there, catch and release, catching a few fish and doing my thing. But really the focus, I'd say, in the last month has really been trout fishing.
Bob, they have them at Tampa Fishing Outfitters.
TFO, man. Straw Hat Mafia.
Straw Hat Mafia. Kathy, I feel sorry. You got to live with this guy, man.
Yeah, 24 hours
I know, and I know it don't change.
It doesn't.
Like, what you see is what you get.
See what you get, bro. It's right here on the leave. But anyway, so I'm going to talk a little bit about how I've been trout fishing, areas that I've been looking for. And one of the biggest things, man, is I've been trying to get out of the crowd, dude. So I enjoy trout fishing because a lot of times you can find an area off a flat, a runoff, edge of a bar, pothole, creek, and catch quite a few trout. And the key is knowing sort of when to be there. My personal opinion is the ends of the outgoing tides have been one of my favorites, or the start of the incoming. The
coincide with prime feeding times.
Yeah, exactly.
For the most
goes
part.
right with salooners. But
don't get Todd cranked up on salooners.
That's been a key. I mean, it honestly has been a key, and I've been targeting the trout, especially the bigger trout, have really feeding on the peaks of those tides, the lower and up end of them. But live bait, been using gracks, white bait pilchards. Believe it or not, a lot of the bigger trout have been catching on the bigger baits.
Told me that. You have lost a handful of them.
You will. You'll lose.
Because trout tend to just grab and spit.
They're a mouthy critter. Yeah, they'll definitely mouth it up, and you'll know because you'll come back with old wide gap Tommy in there, where you got two hash marks that are an inch apart, and that was a tank. But they will come up and they'll grab that bait and swim off with it, and if you don't let them sort of take it down, a lot of times you'll lose the fish. But we have been using bigger baits, and it's really been targeting or bringing in some of the bigger trout, which we're going to show you a few here in a minute. But what I do want to say along with that is there's been a significant number of slot fish, and that's what we've been targeting. If some want to take home, have a few fish for dinner, what we've been harvesting is trout. And I've been trying to keep it in that 16, 17, 18, top end 19-inch trout of what we're harvesting. And a lot of these big trout, or just about all of them, I had to shake one down because you got to leap. But honestly, in the last month, a lot of my big trout over 20 inches.
Well, them are the trout.
And
trout are all reproducers. Them are the ones that are throwing the numbers out there.
Yep.
And guys, I kind of try to hold that theory with all fish.
100%, man.
It's like, man, and that's what really kills me with keeping snook. And I think there's a lot of people keeping snook, and there's nothing wrong with it. Like, it's legal when it's closed now. I haven't kept one all year. Didn't keep one last year. But we're gonna be our own thorn in our side, because you're gonna see a lot of slot fish gone, and it would surprise me if we get to the point later in the year where there's no slot fish around, because so many that have fell in that slot. Now, keep in mind, that's what the slot's designed to do, but I just really see that slot getting fished out, which is okay. We're not going to kill numbers because of the way the slot's designed, but the big fish I really like to let go.
It's something to consider. Yeah. Consider in the state of our fishery, they're building 3,000 homes on Apollo Beach. Now, we're talking the South Shore, but you think about that.
There's 15,000 people moved to Prieto last year.
How many are going to be on a boat? How many are going to be on the water?
People move here,
and we got to take that into consideration. I mean,
and that's a tough.
I'm talking about us too, because I don't want that to come back on me. Well, you need to get off the water because I want to be. No, we're going to share it, but we're going to be in the same mind frame of what we're doing.
We need to start doing a little more mackerel fishing for keeper fish.
100% and snapper fishing. I made a comment the other day. I said snap the other redfish.
Oh, they're great. I love snapper fishing.
They offer great bites.
They're probably one of my favorite fish to look forward to.
Dude.
Me and you get out there, and we got some spots that are, and I got another spot that it's got all snapper ingredients, and I found it, and I can't wait to hit it in snapper. We got some grouper. My buddy Jeff got a 7-pounder off of there. I got rocked up like 4 times, broke off last week. So, but if you look on the machine, straight rocks. Like it's got tide flow. It's in deeper water.
A lot of people don't realize that we are blessed to have our shipping channel, and going all the way out, up the bay and out the bay, the fork of the bay. We're blessed to have deep water. You go down to a place like the harbor, which has a beautiful estuary, and in some ways trumps ours to end, but our deep water and our channel fishing and blows it away. I think
we have more reefs. We have more bait.
And over the years, and I both talked, we've sort of a lot of attention towards that to try to give that inshore stuff. I mean, I get burnt out just as much as anybody else. I mean, fishing that stuff. I can't wait to get out and do some bait fishing, kingfish, tarpon,
I got issues, man.
Sharks,
I like snook.
Snapper. No, I mean, yeah, you do have issues, for sure. But
love snook fishing.
It's definitely a nice break for me. I like getting out there, catch cobia, big fish. I don't care if it's stingrays,
well, you get a mix. Like,
it really breaks.
The flats is like, what you're getting when you go out there. Like today, I was telling you about these grouper. We had the drags locked. Like, I mean, and the thing is, it's so rocky that if they get anything on you,
game over.
Yeah. Well, we had a big bait down on the knocker rig, and he's reeling it up. I thought, well, man, that ain't a grouper. We pull a freaking doormat flounder.
Nice.
I was like, that's pretty sweet. Yeah. So you get there's a lot of stuff. It's different stuff. The problem is the wind's been bad this spring.
Right. That's been
I'm going to go out there in 3-footers and slam around. William, to answer your question, that brings a point. With snook, I don't know if that's going to happen because of the way the slot is designed. And I've covered it before. I'll cover it real fast again. The snook slot is designed. Snook are born as males, and I know this because I went to the symposium. The coolest thing I've ever done in my career is go sit through a snook symposium. Snook are born as male. At about 26 inches roughly, they turn into female. So from 26 to 28, a fish gets the opportunity to spawn. After 28, they go to the slot. If they get caught, well, they're dead. They make it through the slot. Now they're females to reproduce the rest of their life. So that's why I say I don't think our snook fishery will get hurt. I think our slot snook fishery will get hurt, which... Do you call 30-inch fish a trophy snook? It's kind of
in this day and age. No, when I was a little younger, going up, if you were catching 30-inch snook, I mean, that was a solid fish. I mean, we didn't take pictures growing up, but I probably would have took a picture of a 30-incher.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean?
I mean, well, not me, but I'm saying as science. I think that's not a trophy, but that's close.
That's getting close. You've definitely done something.
And a 30-incher is a fish that's eat live bait versus big pig in the water like a 35,
right.
36.
They change.
So
they become trash cans after about 33, 34 inches.
Yeah, then they're just like, I'm not eating. That's a lie. Unless it's early spring or, circumstances. But I miss catch 30 inches because it's a great fight. It gets people excited on the boat. And it's a little easier to catch. It breaks the
monotony of that 22-inch fish, 20 fish.
Yeah, you catch 30, 22 inches, like, okay, even though they don't, But then I got customers that they're like, man, this is awesome. Like, so I miss catching the 30-inch fish.
It goes back to what we expectations and what they want to do.
But, William, I hope that explains it. I think we're okay as far as our overall stocks. Now, what will hurt us is if we get another freeze. That's going to be bad news. But that's when you can't control. It's just Mother Nature.
You can't control it. I tell you, man, all in all, I think that the fishing community in Tampa Bay cherishes the snook as a whole. There's going to be guys that live to kill them, live to eat them, which fine. I'm not going against it, but I'm just going to say that I think a majority of the people realize what happened in 2009, 2010. I think fishing guides as a whole have done a good job of educating our clients why we come to our opinions and do a good job of educating people on what happened in 2009. That's just one incident, you know what I mean? And obviously, I think personally the snook population is rebounded. I think we're on the way. We're not to a point where, we want to be, but it's definitely going in the right direction. So it's definitely something to be excited about. We always talk about the bad stuff.
Well, there's
the cool
two
thing
species.
is over spring, I think you can admit. I mean, it's been good. Snook fishing
has been good. We've got a lot of pressure. There's no secret. Me and Travis primarily fish the South Shore. I used to roam around back in the day, but I grew up fishing the South Shore, and I like it there. It feels home to me. But we've had extreme amount of pressure. I haven't seen the amount of boats on our side since I started guiding in 04, 05. It was crowded back then with a lot of guys, and then a lot of people left during the snook kill. And honestly, like, I felt like me and a few other guides had it to ourselves. It's nice.
It's funny, when I started guiding, I asked you and Danny, I said, hey, man, is there room for me out there? And y'all were like, yeah, man. Hell. If I was to ask you that today,
you had to be a pretty close friend.
You'd have been like, "Oh man, you just need there's no room."
But me and Danny talked about it. We got spoiled for a few years there, and what it was
on a daily basis.
What happened? We had this kill is the community spots that everybody knew dried up. What I found is I was catching stuff in spots that I didn't fish before.
Yeah,
and I think that we lost a lot of fish, but I think we fished different areas and found new spots,
right,
and caught more fish there. And I didn't catch numbers right after the snook kill. Well, the first year was horrible. Second year was bad. Third year, I was like, all right, we're starting to catch some fish.
Yeah.
I was catching more spot fish, a lot more.
Right.
Now, I wasn't catching the numbers I do now.
And the main reason I think for that was a lot of those fish ended up in our river systems.
Yeah.
As a result. I mean, not granted they're going to migrate or they're going to spawn and other things, but I think there's a gravitation towards our river systems, and I know there's towards snook, and so I think we're the first ones to see recovery because of where we're at.
Well, do we want to do the?
We're going to do
trout?
The trivia, guys.
We're already.
Let's see what we get. So we can
give away a Blue Water Gear shirt.
We're going to do a Blue Water Gear shirt. Just your name and address, and Captain Jason will get you set up with a nice shirt. But here's what we got. So, talking a little bit about fishing, we've been catching some really nice trout. I have 4 trout up here that we've caught in the last month on recent charters. And what I'm going to ask is which one is the biggest, which number fish the biggest, and how long was it? We'll do to the closest quarter inch. So we got quite a few people watching. So we'll do to the closest quarter inch. Which one's the biggest? And to the closest quarter inch, you're going to win a Blue Water Gear shirt.
Blue Water Gear shirt. All you got to do is shoot your info, and I will get it over to the boys at Blue Water.
Let's check this out. Let's see if we can get it here. So here is big trout number 1.
And they're all big.
Yeah, they're all studs, man. It's tough. It's close, and it's going to be
what I
tough.
like about that picture, Travis, is you had the customer hold the trout right. Now, maybe he was a good fisherman, but
And I'll tell you, you know what was interesting about this fish, and in this client in particular, this is a guy named Cletus. And Cletus fished with me for a couple mornings, and he had one bum arm, or hand. See the hand that he's holding fish up with? He had an accident and was a little handicapped in that hand. But let me tell you what, buddy. I put him on a 15-pound jack was his first fish, and he went nuts, dude. And then he was catching some big trout, so it was pretty cool. But he had a kind of a hard time holding the trout up.
Right.
But he did a great job, man. Awesome client. You know, appreciated what we did and had a good time doing it. But so that's trout number 1. Let me show you trout number 2. Let's check this guy out.
Yeah.
That's trout number 2.
He wasn't too educated on the hold, was
he? I mean, the way I do the trout is I hold net.
Yeah.
I dehook him in the net. And we do one cheer where you kind of lay them up there. I make them create their hands. I set them in their hands, and we'll get one quick measure on them and let them go. And so that's trout number 2. There's a stud. Let's see what we got. No, you guys are all a little off so far. So there's number 2. That's
Man, they're underestimating your fish.
Got him a stud there. I promise we're all measured. Let's check out trout number 3. That's a tank, dude. That one was a pig. I got excited about that one. But I got excited about all of them. Kind of been a good year, man. So it was really nice to see. And I had a conversation with Captain Greg DeVault up in north area, up West Capel, Land O'Lakes, or Hudson area up there. And we were talking about the numbers of big trout. Right after we kind of had a conversation the next few weeks, I really started down in some of these bigger trout, man, which is nice to see. But I still don't think our numbers, our big numbers are there. We've been catching them, but we've also been catching a lot of trout to get to them.
The biggest problem, I think, with trout is just the kill rate is just...
Yeah. I mean, all these fish were let go, guys. I can't stress it enough, man. You can see their bellies. They're packed full of eggs. And then here's trout number 4.
Trout is such a beautiful fish.
And they are, man. They're pretty.
And the big ones fight pretty good. The small ones,
man.
It feels like a different fish.
And it's fun. And one hit, I'm going to let you look at trout number 4, and then I'll put them back up. One of the things that I would like to recommend, and we've talked about it before, is if you're trout fishing on an open flat, loosen your drag. Loosen it enough, or tighten it to get the hook set.
Yeah.
But loosen it enough where you don't yank the hooks out, especially these boys. Because
are you looking at the number?
No, he's not quite that big.
Yeah. Dean, don't give him that much credit. Jeez.
So
it's like an East Coast trout right there.
But the weight on their heads and the weight on their bodies, man, they'll yank a hook out because their mouths are so soft. So the first thing I do is I'll always loosen up the
That's a good picture. You did that with your phone?
Those are all off the phone.
Wow. That was a good picture there. You got the light just right.
And so that's one thing that I would recommend. If you can see areas that we're fishing on the flats. There's no obstructions. There's nothing for the fish to get under. Take your time, do a slow, steady retrieve, and you'll land these big trout. But one more time, guys, I'm gonna post them all up here together so you can check them out. There are the 4 trout, and we do not have a winner yet. We don't. Everybody's a little off, man. I will tell you that 3 of them are pretty close, and one of them stings the other ones by, in fish length, a pretty good sting. See what you got. See what you got. We'll just keep on rolling. Let's talk a little about trout fishing, Jay. I mean, I know you're a popcorn guy, so get on us. I mean, what's your idea with popcorn? Clean water, dirty water, live bait?
We had the fish ABC Liquor Tournament and Friday, and I had talked to you, and you gave me a little tip. I knew you were getting trout, but you gave me kind of specifics on a pothole. And
might get close.
And so, anyways, we made the run north. And I tell you, the popping cork key, we couldn't get them on free line. Would not hit it. Pop corks every time. So these containers are great. We use them in Louisiana. They're good for redfish, snook, and good for trout. I've got on the boat. The water's starting to dirty. This time of year.
Just a touch smaller, guys. A touch smaller.
This is the time of year where I start using these. I'll kick this. I'll show you this when we go to live screen here. But the Cajun Thunder floats are great. You know, we got de-hookers here, but, you know, the trout fishing, I'm not a great trout fisherman. It's not real hard. You know, you want to broaden your horizon. Everybody grass flats on trout, which there are plenty of grass flats, but start targeting hard bottom areas, oyster bars, You want to try. They ain't got this one yet.
It's tough, man. I've been a little challenging this week, man. I mean,
but so yeah, you want to broaden your horizons.
I need a length, Randy. I need a length.
Oh,
go ahead.
I'm looking at them trout. That is
it's
awesome.
Tough, right? They're tough.
It is. You
close,
took some different
man.
angles.
Tough. They're close.
But there's a lot of different options with trout. You can hit any grass flat and get them, but the big ones really do move around.
Getting warm. We're getting warm.
The big ones really move around, and it's a numbers game. One thing I've kind of learned about trout the last couple of years is I used to roll the trout spot and get impatient. I'd chum and they're not here. Sometimes those are blowing up. What I've kind of learned the last couple of years is you roll that area a little bit harder, chum it, sit.
Follow Mike's lead, guys. He's a little strong.
So quit saying 30s. It's not the big.
It's not 30.
It's nothing on 30. But I've learned to work an area for a little bit. Kind of, I don't know if it's the boat coming or what, but let them adjust a little bit and sit there. And are we getting close here?
They're trying, man. They're working on it, dude. I knew this was going to be tough, man. I knew this was going to be tough.
No 30s, guys. No 30s.
I'll give it another second. I'll throw out one hint, and then I'll let it roll.
Dean, you're getting close. Getting warm.
Getting a little warm.
Getting a little 44. Come on.
Holy.
Dude, that's a 40.
44.
I'm booking it harder if it's a 44-inch trout. Holy smokes. I don't even know that's possible.
Ooh, Scotty's close. We're getting warm. Getting warm.
Everybody's big on these.
They're getting big, man. They are big fish, man. But trout to really a trout that looks huge is really huge, like really big. Randy,
got it,
baby. Number 3 with 26.5 inches. Number 3 with 26.5 inches. There's your winner, man. All nice trout. You nailed it right on the button, man. I was gonna let it fly, but you nailed it. You nailed it right on the button, man. Number 3 with 26.5 inches.
Randy, shoot your
us your
address,
info,
and we'll get you a shot.
I'll tell you, number 1 was just over 25. He was like almost 25 and an eighth, 25 quarter. Number 2 was 25 and a half, and number 4 was 25 and 3/4, and number 3 was 26.5.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what they went, dude. And all those fish were measured, and all those fish were released. I had some really great clients on the boat. Number 4, I pried that thing out of his hands, man. But after our conversation, everything was cool. We caught some fish to take home for dinner. It was all good. So, where I'm fishing, and you can find me. That's what's in the wake, man. Still out there, guys. So hope they're ready to drop some eggs, and y'all have some nice trout to.
Yeah, we caught some 23, 24 inches last week. Good fish, but so we got live stream. I want to show you guys the corks here. These floats, Agent Thunder. The back bay in particular was the design of the cork gives a little bit better pop. These things are awesome. They're great time of year for redfish, trout, and look. If you get on my boat, you'll see it's tied up. And they calls me Popping Cork Prieto.
Popping Cork Prieto. I tell you, you know what? These do work. I don't even want to tell you that they work, but they do work.
They're pain in the butt for us. You got to tie them in.
They are. They're a pain in the butt. I really like the snap, floats that you snap on. You can free line or go back to
there's a difference, I think.
Or a free line. I do like the ability to move and adjust the height of your cork on the slide weights, but I will tell you that the sound comes out of these, particularly for trout, makes a difference.
And it works for snook and reds, too.
It works snook and reds, too. But for me, like if, you're targeting that 4 to 6 foot, maybe runoff water, dirty water,
you got
this is a good tool to go to and
the key for me has been
catfish collars.
Catfish call. I don't know if I've ever caught catfish on one. I don't know. I can say that I remember.
I probably have. If there's anything to catch catfish, I'm sure I've caught it.
We caught a few today on Cup, but the other good tool, and it sounds basic, but people still don't know what this is, a de-hooker.
De-hooker, man.
And we put this show all over social media, all over the states. United States got some groups that we share that are way out, and I get plenty of people that say, that is the neatest tool ever. They've never seen it. It's a de-hooker, guys. This isn't particularly my favorite, And actually, Mustad has a blue handle one. I don't think they make anymore. We were just talking about the show. It's like, why do they have something that's really good and discontinue it?
And we'll try to do this. I don't know if they can see, but like the funnest thing that I've
come here. Let me get that hook out of your mouth.
is how to use it.
Yeah.
Because most people don't know. So let's say you got a fish on.
So
this got the fish.
Yep.
Here's I got rod. Right. So
okay.
Here he is.
So
now,
you're gonna put this right on the hook. And you're just going to pull. I usually take line and pull like this
down.
and then pop it out.
Yep.
So you're just going to pull that hook basically the way it came.
You got to get your line. You got to get your second hand. You got to get your second hand down, just like I just said. And the key is making sure that you're lower on this one with the line. Now, this is going back to rod. But you want the fish higher in the line.
You ever seen customers try to use it?
Dude, I love it.
It's hilarious. They're
great.
Like, how do you do this?
Yeah.
And they're going like this. I'm going, let me see it. They go.
Pop it right off.
How'd you do that? I was like, I put my hand low, pick the hook up, and it pops out.
Pops right out, man.
I like these for catfish because you ain't got to mess with the catfish.
Not at all.
I ain't grabbing catfish. They're slimy,
but the only
nasty.
thing I'm bummed out about, and I hope somebody's a rep for somebody, but see how
take that hookers, second loop out.
Little weird second loop.
And make long.
They used to be where the hook tool was only this part right here. They cut it off. It was just one little hook.
What's that? Why'd you quit making the blue handle one?
They don't make them like that anymore. And this is the new flavor, man. And I know why, because you can actually use it the other way. You can
pop through.
You can push it through forward and pop it out. Like
yeah,
push up.
But man, come on.
I get so used to doing it the other way.
Yeah.
It's been hard to find. I actually made one for my boat.
This one's too short too. Make longer, man. Like this. Come on. Get with the program. All the stuff we come up with is, I mean, make an app or something that does it right. I don't know.
That's funny.
Speaking of apps, we got some artificial lures here too.
Talk a little bit about this, guys, and I'm gonna just say right out of the gate that I do not know a whole bunch about this.
No.
This was brought to our
Wild
attention,
does because he's
recently.
on the lure.
Anybody that watches Deadliest Catch, I hope we're allowed to.
We were hanging out with him at ICAST.
We were with old Wild Bill. He looks like Theo in this picture here. But he's, Livingston Lures is the name of the company, guy. Livingston Lures. And if you've watched Deadliest Catch recently, he did a little project with these guys. He was putting crab collars in his crab pots. And I watched one of the episodes, and they put it in one pot, they skipped a pot, they put it in another pot, and so they put one of these crab collar devices in. And dude, if it didn't catch, like they caught substantially more the ones that had the crab collars in them than any
so how does this work for redfish tournaments?
I don't know. So
it's kind of cheating, ain't it?
It's an electronic lure, electronic bait fish sounds that's in this lure, and you can actually link to it via your phone through an app, and I'm assuming you can download or set different sounds to come out of the lure. We're gonna take a few of these back with us and do some playing around, especially with this trout bite, which is why we sort of wanted to kind of bring it in up here tonight, because, popping corks, topwater plugs, anything that makes a rattling sound, a lot of times,
they like noise.
They're attracted to noise, particularly, and I know you've noticed this too, but have you been on a little trout, catching a few here and there, and they're not really that active catching them, and they're not really grunting, but you start in a different spot or a different day, and you get them just right, and every fish you catch is grunting real hard, like they're active. And I think they're a very vocal feeder.
Which would make this work.
They are a drum. And so this seems like a pretty cool lure to test out on some of those trout, to see, maybe try one without one and try one with.
Maybe we put the app in the cork.
Gosh. A popping cork.
An app with an electronic feed app.
Yeah, but you can't play like ACDC.
This is going to be game over, son.
So we went through the product line they had down there. They got a lot of cool
colors.
colors.
It like this.
They got the old redfish, the old baby redfish color. That's a pretty cool color. My favorite for any kind of topwater subsurface lure is going to be bone. That's one of my favorites right there, and that's the bone color. They got bone. They got baby redfish. Of course, they call them different stuff, but it's a baby redfish. This one looks like a shad or just a light blue pattern. And then there was a mullet. Where was that mullet? There's a mullet.
Rick's not here.
Which is pretty cool. And they also have, show them that thing, Jay.
Scrimp.
Oh, scrimp. They got the old scrimp. So if you haven't checked them out, check them out. Livingston Lures. I'll give you a website. LivingstonLures.com. They're in Texas, which means they probably know a lot about redfish and they probably know a lot about fishing.
Yes.
Snook, maybe not so much. This may be
secret.
The secret snook that everybody's been waiting to get a hold of, man.
You heard it here first. You catch a big snook. So, don't act like you heard it somewhere else.
But they're here, stocked at Tampa Fishing Outfitters. Come in, check them out. They got a whole wall of them. And I said that there's an app that goes with it. You can download some stuff onto this thing. The battery, it's not rechargeable, but we were told that the battery is supposed to last up to like 2 years.
Yeah, so, you're definitely going to lose that lure, brother, if you fish a lot.
Yeah, I will definitely lose it by then.
What's the cost on them?
They're about $8.
That's
not super
bad.
Compared to some of the other, premium hard plastic products like, Live Target or even like Missouri products or Mirror Lure products. They're all in line, I think, with that same.
So
but I think you're getting a little added bonus.
Yeah, for sure,
some,
if it works.
Calling on that, but that's what we got. So Livingston Lures, go check them out. We're going to try a few. I'm excited, actually. It'd be cool in the redfish. We might get banned. That's
I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's what I said. Like, is that going to be legal? I mean,
oh my gosh,
I don't know. It's an artificial lure, but you're using your phone. How does that work out?
I don't know. If it's got a tracking device on, I'm gonna let one choke it down. Oh, man.
As long as you didn't purposely do it.
That's right. But well, guys, we kind of blew through our last little commercial there, trivia stuff. I hope you enjoyed it. We like I said, we've been impressed with the big trout fishing lately, and the trout fishing in general. So that's been comforting, knowing where our redfish is. That's where I'll leave it. It's been comforting. Still nothing to go be abused and go crush them till nothing left. But
you mean
it
trout?
Has been a trout.
Yeah, you said redfish.
It has been a nice relief.
Redfish, we're still in limbo.
To, something to fall back on, but still stay in the same realm of premium inshore game fish.
Yeah.
Inshore fish. So that's been nice. But that's about it. Why don't you get us out of here?
All right, guys. We're going to be back on Wednesday next week. Normal schedule, because I just had a text from somebody. Phone's going dead, whoever texts me, and I'll see if I'm open on the 14th. But, yeah, if you guys like to do a chart, that's what we do for a living. We do this for, I don't know, a little bit of money and to talk fish, just kind of hang out. Go get our wraps at Jimmy John's. But
yeah, man.
If you like an actual charter with us, you can give us a call at 813-727-9890. Steady Action Fishing Charters. Dom and Travis.
813-830-3474. You can check out my website, www.fishbyinstinct.com, or shoot me a message on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, man. Just get a hold of us. We'll get you out there and do fishing.
And we'll be talking fishing with you guys next Wednesday. You listen to Tampa Fishing Outfitters Fishing Report live.
See you.